My friend actually saw one alone and so I studied medicine. I can remember and I can't forget that scene. 8:30 Monday morning. Then my dad said, "Do you even know that you've not told me the class you're going to?" Then I told him that
He just paused, like, what's
exactly
happening?
like that. We shocked that. Wait, French, how? Where is this coming? My dad gave me lots of career books. I think maybe about 5 or 7.
Oh wow.
He gave me. I said, "Give me a week to go think about it." Say about my parents is that they acknowledge the place of God in our purpose. So as when he told me to go and read those things and pray, he and my mom too were actually praying.
Hello and welcome to Happy Conversations, where we have conversations around the theme of hope, art, progress, and intellect. On this episode of Happy Conversations, I interview my friend and guest, Ibukun Aderogba, about her time in university. I asked her questions about how she was able to come up with a 4.86 GPA as a language student and how she was able to combine her social life, her academics, our spiritual growth, and every other thing she was able to accomplish while on campus. I hope you find this conversation insightful. I will see you in the rest of the episode.
So, Sally, Hamadro, Ibukunoluwa.
Please don't start with your language first.
And it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask now that how were you even able to choose French? Because that is interesting. I feel like you already knew you wanted French from GS3.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people have that idea. But just I think this would be instructive. Hopefully, aside from undergraduates, hopefully those that are not undergraduates get to listen to this conversation. But how were you able to choose that? Like you were really sure and you were like you had to convince your parents, even though it wasn't like so rosy, but you had to like, this is what I want to do.
Okay, so I would say that right from when I was young, I wanted to be a doctor. Yeah, I really wanted to. And then the society creates a standard for families in a way that there are certain there are certain professions there are certain professions that are considered to be noble. So when you talk about being a lawyer, being a doctor, and then being an accountant, those were the major
engineer.
Points. And being an engineer too. So my brother wanted to study engineering, or he was already studying engineering. Yeah, I was already studying engineering then. My eldest brother too was studying law. So the next thing was let the next person just study medicine. Right. So and I really wanted it, and I also had some health challenges at that young age of mine that really made me know the value of doctors. So I told myself that no, really, I really want to do this for more people and also save lives. But when I got to GSS3, I needed to choose my path.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it. Though before then, I already knew that I just had the notion that I was made for more. I knew that I wasn't just a common lady or a common child.
Had you come in contact with DDK that time?
No,
because I
didn't come in contact with DDK.
Okay, anyway, that's a distraction. Bro.
Yeah, I didn't come in contact with DDK until 2020. But I would really say that my parents played a huge role in my upbringing and in our upbringing, basically. So I'll say that they really, really did so well. So as at that young age, I already knew, and then they really saw us in the way of God. God really speaking to you, and you really know in the heart of God.
And like you guys had this self-confidence, like, I am made for more.
Exactly.
Like what you were saying, I'm like, that's beautiful.
So as at that young age, I knew. And then when I got to GSS3, I needed to choose. Right. So was it still medicine or what exactly? So I compared all my options, and actually I was like an all-rounder. Like if I wanted to go for,
you could fit in
anywhere. But then I was good in all subjects, but I was not interested in the chemistry aspect of basic science. Then it wasn't split. You had just basic science. Then in basic science you have biology aspect, the physics and chemistry. I wasn't really interested. I did not like the chemistry aspect. It's not that I didn't get it. As a matter of fact, my mom is a chemistry and a mathematics teacher.
So you
So
always see all those things at home and all.
yeah, so I mean, she would even like put me through, and so I did not have issues with it. But it wasn't just I wasn't just interested, and I didn't see myself do it for a long time. I didn't see myself doing it for a long time. So I told myself that no, once chemistry is out, it means that science class
Yes.
was actually out. I was okay with biology, but that made science class out. Then I thought about it. Okay, if I would go to the arts, what would it be? A lawyer? No, I was not interested in that. Then I thought about it. Okay, if I want to like try to go into the commercial class, being an accountant. I was good with business studies and all of that, but it wasn't just a thing I saw myself like doing on the long run. And then I just knew that I loved French as I then.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the things I would say that parents should watch out for is that, or even students, is that what you would eventually become or what you will eventually do, or your purpose may not be in terms of the subject you know best, or better still, the subject you score the highest marks in.
Okay.
So, because for instance, I would say that as at then, I would get A's in French, right? But the digits of the A might not be as high as mathematics or English or basic science, right? Even though I knew French then, yeah, but that was like my interest. And even when I was in the SS class, I was getting higher marks in other subjects. Sometimes I would get a B in French, but that was really what I wanted to do. You get, so I just knew, I just had that interest. I had interest in two subjects that I felt like, no, if it remained only these two subjects in the world, I think I would go for them. And they were French and music. So as at then, I was even thinking that okay, I think I'll find a way to like merge these two together. And then as at then too, I had to pray about it and really want to know what God wanted me to do. Right? So I was like, okay, what's the next thing? I'll go for French. And something also helped me. And what helped me was that I had a little introduction, or yeah, a little introduction to French when I was younger. My dad, during his formative years, studied in Cameroon. His dad was a priest, so they went for mission work. Yeah, so he at in Cameroon then, so he had few French textbooks that I would always like go through.
Yeah, so you're already like
so I was interested in it, and then my teacher, and I'll say that my teacher in GSS 1 played a very important role because that was my first contact with the language. She made the language easy. She was friendly, unlike what many people actually say about French teachers. So she made it very easy for me. The teacher I had in GS2, GS3 also did well, but it wasn't like the one I had in GSS 1. But that push or that motivation in GSS 1 really caught my attention.
I think one thing I wanted to ask as well, like diverting away from, because you are very passionate about French. Okay. But then I would like to ask now, how were you able to study French in uni?
Yes.
Okay, because I know you studied Portuguese and French.
Yes.
Okay, how was that for you? Because you already love French, but now you now are now introduced to another language entirely, and you still came out tops. Like, how did that happen? Was there any challenge on the way?
Definitely. Okay, so I think I would round up the whole choosing French before I get into Portuguese.
Okay, that's fine.
So as I decided, but my parents never knew because my parents actually saw all along that I wanted to like study medicine with my grandpa, my my family members. So I wanted to go for summer coaching. We finished the term on I think Thursday or Friday. Summer coaching was to start on Monday. So when it was 8:30, I can remember and I can't forget that scene. 8:30 Monday morning. I just went to go to my parents and I was like, I was going for summer coaching. Then my dad said, do you even know that you've not told me the class you are going to? Then I told him that I want to study French. And then, I mean, he didn't, I knew it was.
He just paused, like, what's happening?
It was like, do you know you never told me? So at that stage, I knew myself, because I knew myself that they would have been shocked that, wait, French, how, where is this coming from?
Dr. French.
Right? So my dad did something. He said he would give me a week. He gave me lots of career books. I think maybe about 5 or 7.
Oh, wow.
He gave me. I said he'd give me a week to go think about my decision, and that during the weekend I should come back to tell him. what I wanted to do. And then after the weekend, I told them.
We're
Then
still French.
yeah, and then but you thing I would really say about my friends is that they acknowledge the place of God in our purpose. So as I when he told me to go and read those things and pray, he and my mom too were actually praying.
Oh, wow.
So they really like took God all along our journeys, and I think that was that. So now let me come to how I came in contact with Portuguese, because I never thought that I was going to like do Portuguese in the university. So I came in and it was even surprising because I didn't know that in the department there is a non-beginners and the beginners in French.
Okay.
I mean, and the non-beginners are people who did French in their whole levels, whose results shows French. And then so I came in, I even thought I would be a beginner. I mean, so I felt like I was going to like be in class with people who did not even know French at all. But I mean, I had more of a different curriculum and all of that. So I realized that you had to like choose a minor language which you could combine with at the end of the day. So, and I knew that no, I'm just a person that I always just want to like maximize the
every opportunity
every opportunity I have. So I was like, if I can combine two languages, I mean, what it needs, what I need to do is just like really, I mean, put in my best into it and all of that. So I had to choose either German or Portuguese. And that was another thing. So I was thinking, actually, I would really start. Many people told me to choose German because they felt like, okay, German has a lot of opportunities. You get this, you get this, you get that, and all of that. But I attended the German class just like have an idea. I attended the Portuguese class just like to have an idea. I would say that for the German class, it's something that I wouldn't have gotten German, and it's something that I couldn't say I would like graduated the first class in German, right? But my heart tweeted more with Portuguese. And so I prayed about it because I knew that no, I can't just like go into any language without carrying God along. So I prayed about it, and I just knew that God wanted me to go for Portuguese. Even though it was against the wish of
a lot of
certain people, I just went along with it, and that was how I combined with Portuguese. And when I was in part 3, I cannot forget. It was on the Wednesday. I was sitting in class. I can remember where exactly I was sitting then. I chose a course PRT 206, and God told me why exactly He brought me to language. So I felt like God knew what He wanted me to do, and so the best way for Him to have brought me in was through French, because that was like the nearest opportunity that I had when I was in secondary school, and then when I got to university, I combined with it. So after I combined, I mean, I spent it was now 5 years instead of 4, and I was ready to like go hard for it. I was like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. I mean, I was actually ready to go for it.
You were talking about the fact that when you were entering school, it was a challenge. Like it was not all rosy. But then I'm really interested in how you were able to go about Debbie's art as a healing therapy.
Okay.
Were you an ex-school?
No.
Like church activities?
I was actually involved in church.
Okay, but not like serious, like
ex-school. Not serious with church.
Okay, sorry. Excuse the expression. Okay, but how were you able to combine? Let's start with business. Like, how were you able to combine business? Did you start Debbie's art before school, or how was that for you?
For me, okay, so I would say that age 12, age 12, 13 for me was really a defining year. That was when I was in GSS3. Yeah, it was really a defining. That was 12, 13. It was really a defining year for me, and that was when I started bidding. That was when I started bidding. However, when I wanted to enter school, I knew that I was not going to go into business because I knew that
your plans.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, no, business and this first class not go together, right? So I told myself then that business was just going to like be aside, and then in part 1, I could like, because it was just a thing I loved, so like few times I could just like make few key orders and all of that. But in part 2, it was in part 2 that I started Debbie's Heart.
Okay.
And what made me start it? I started it because I needed an artwork. I was living in the hostel, but I had a very, very boring space. And then I knew that I needed something to just make me lively. I would go very early in the morning, come back late at night. There was nothing to like encourage me in my room. Everywhere was just dull.
Yeah, I
and
remember
everything.
alumni hall.
Yeah, right.
It's
So-
just choked up.
So I told myself I needed something to like just brighten my space. So I told
Mhm.
myself I needed an artwork, and then I was like, I cannot afford an artwork. Like, how much was my allowing then? And all of that. So I told myself I was going to make an artwork myself. I was like, my expressions is beat. So I told myself I was actually going to make an artwork from beat. So that was
To
how
just
it
liven
started.
up your space.
Exactly.
Mm.
But during that time, I could not make the artwork immediately. So I just made flowers and then I decorated it. So what I do or what I did then was for business, basically was that I maximized some of my holidays for business.
Mm.
So for instance, immediately after exams, I started making those artworks. And so I was able to like make I think about 3 or so before I
School
left.
resumed.
Yeah, before exactly. So I wasn't like fully in business in school. And in part two, so I remember that I started baking, but I had my rules. Like
Wow, wow, that's amazing.
I do not bake during the week.
Mm.
Like I can take orders during weekends, but I don't bake during the week. So those were a few of the rules I had, and then I shifted more of the things I did towards holidays.
Mm.
So the thing was that immediately after exams, I just like get into it, do everything I want to do, and then just like maximize it. So many people actually feel like yes, I was able to do more, but I really maximized my breaks. Same thing for even for H.T 4.0. I jumped into it immediately I was done with my defense. I was already like beginning to plan, but I really jumped into it. I didn't do it while I was in school actively. You get so
Mm.
it was a lot on my part because like, it was more or less like I continued to work and work and work. Or
Mm.
I maximized more of the breaks other than I did still a little, just a little during school time, but I didn't really let it affect me. And then I didn't create publicity because I knew that if I had created publicity, I would have had more orders. I would not be able to cater for, and I wouldn't have been able to fit into my academic schedule.
Mm.
So I just only people who knew what I did and tell me to okay, make this for them, make that for them, and I was just and then it was also a way for me to really cool myself down. So it's just more of an art therapy for me. So when I'm down and all of that, one of the ways or when I'm sick, one of the ways I recuperate well is is by making an artwork. So
Wow.
if you feel like I make artworks during school, it's actually because it actually has a reason. So and then I could just decide to make it during a weekend or the time that I'm free. So
Wow.